What's up, guys? Seattle Supercross. We have an exciting new rider to add to the list in the 450 class. Cole Seeley, coming out of retirement, kind of. So explain, like, you just got done doing the 2 World Supercross rounds last year. It's been a while since then now.
Yeah.
And now we have a Honda MotoConcepts bike with white backgrounds on it. 450 for you, so
yeah.
Pretty exciting to see you here at the races, man.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be here. We're planning on doing World Supercross again this year, and we just kind of had the opportunity to get some testing and kind of, I don't know, get some gate drops in to, you know, prepare ourselves for the World Supercross series later this year. And it's fun and good for me to be able to get out with these guys again. Obviously, I've been watching ever since I retired. I watch religiously every weekend, so. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's a completely different situation than I'm usually in when I show up to a race like this. So I'm just looking to have some fun and hopefully get some good results and make everybody over here at the MotoConcepts team happy.
That's cool. That's cool. So making them happy. Like, I talked to Tony and he's like, yeah, pressure's off. For you, obviously, you're jumping in. These guys have been racing 10 weeks in a row. Now you're round 11, Seattle. You know, what is that mindset like jumping in to a series that's already, you know, well developed? There's guys that are been going at it all year. So, like, what's that mindset? Is it nerve-wracking? Is it pressure off? Is it?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
They've told me no pressure, but at the same time, every time I get on the bike, I am used to, you know, being a factory Honda guy and showing up expecting to, you know, get podiums, win races, and all that stuff. So that still is inside of me, where, you know, I'm like, every time I get on the bike, I still want to be the fastest guy on the track, but. Thinking, you know, I'm older now, a little more mature, trying to look at it in a different light. So at the same time, trying to take the pressure off myself, go have fun. But when I'm kind of relaxed like that, I usually tend to ride better anyways. So just, you know, set a little bit of goals here and there for the weekend. And the main focus is just go have fun and make sure the boss man's happy. This is a home race for me now, being from Idaho. We're moving to Idaho. And then for Leisure Spas and MotoConcepts, this is a home race as well. So we got a lot of employees and associates here at the race. So just looking to have a good time, put some smiles on faces, and you know, hopefully this rain holds off. The track doesn't get too soft. But it's all good. Seattle's been really good to me in the past. I have 2 wins here on Lights bike. So some good memories in the stadium, and like I said, just looking forward to having some fun and having a good night. That's super cool.
So you moved to Idaho. That's kind of new. So you've been a California guy. Even Mike mentioned that. Tony Alessi mentioned that you've known Tony for 30 years now.
Yeah,
when you
whole life.
Literally your whole life. When you were 3 years old, you were riding with Mike Alessi.
Yep.
And now you're 33 and you're riding for Tony Alessi.
Yeah.
So can you explain, like, a little bit of background on that and just the team atmosphere?
Yeah. It's really cool. Like, what goes around, you know, just comes around back in life. Grew up with Tony and Mike and Jeff and going to the races with them when we were younger, and then we kind of, you know, parted ways when we they moved to a different location, I moved to a different location. So, but stayed in contact our whole lives. Cool to see what, you know, Mike is able to accomplish in his career, and always followed that very closely. And but no, working with Tony, he's a completely different guy. You know, he's definitely evolved from what he was back then. He's, you know, kind of the first, like, moto dad. I think he was a little bit ahead of his time, because I think back then it was a little looked down upon, but now it's like everybody's kind of like that. But it's cool working with him. Obviously know him very well. We have a lot of respect for each other.
Cool.
But it's somebody that I've known my entire life.
That's cool. And then you raced the 250 for World Supercross last year. When was the decision made to do 450 for World Supercross this year? Because, like, I guess it was really the MotoConcepts team that kind of got you out of retirement, right? Yeah,
well, when the World Supercross series came about, I wanted to do it. I just didn't know really the details of everything, how the teams were going to work, and there was a lot of question marks in the air for me. So having interest in that, I spoke to Tony about it at Anaheim 2 last year, and we kind of got the ball rolling there, but they already had 2 450 guys slotted, so they offered me a 250 ride, and I took it with hopes that I would be a 450 guy in the next year, just because I hadn't, you know, put a leg over a 250 in probably a decade. So it was a completely new territory for me. Not completely new, but territory I hadn't been in years. So racing the 250, completely different format. It was a lot of things to juggle at the same time. So I was a little out of my element last year. Obviously, I wasn't happy with my results. I hit the ground more than I crossed the finish line. So going into this year, fortunately, you know, what I was anticipating and hoping would happen was landing on the 450 ride this year. So that came about, and it's such a long break between. I think we raced in October last year, and then the series starts again in July. So to kind of fill that downtime and be a little bit more involved with the team, we planned kind of a 2-month stay for me in Temecula, ride the test tracks, ride the bike, get some settings, gather some information to be ready for World Supercross. But obviously lining up here, I'm not just using this as a feeler for World Supercross. I also want to do well and want to make everyone happy. So
totally.
It's a low pressure situation, but I'm still a competitive guy. I still want to do well.
Totally. So, and then you're racing Seattle, and then you're also racing Glendale as well. And no other rounds after that?
No.
Cool.
Just Seattle, Glendale, and then July 1st when the World Supercross starts. So starts back up.
Cool. And then what is it like looking at that World Supercross schedule with races all around the world?
It's cool. I always say this, but I really enjoyed doing the off-season races whenever they came about, whenever my schedule and my testing schedule and all that stuff worked out when I was a full-time American racer.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed going to the other countries, mostly for the fans. It's just so cool. Like, they don't get to see us in person a lot, so they're very appreciative when we're there. So, and the same goes for last year when we raced World Supercross in Wales and in Australia. It was awesome. Like, fans were so excited to have us there. So yeah, it's cool to check out other parts of the world, which is a huge bonus to this whole thing. But it's also really awesome to see a lot of the fans over in Europe and all the other countries that we get to go to.
That's cool. And then I got to ask this question. I haven't talked to you about it personally, but did you do some test riding for Motocross Action back in the day? You did some photos and stuff?
Back in the day, yeah.
So my boss, Daryl Eklund, he's talked about you, and we definitely have photos of you riding. But like, how cool was that? I mean, how long ago was that, and what bikes did you get to ride?
Yeah, I actually dig through some of my old emails trying to find some of the photos because, it was John Bash at the time. We just became friends at a local track one day, and he asked if I wanted to do some photo shoots, and I landed a couple magazine covers.
Cool.
Before the whole social media thing was was as big as it is now. It was all about magazines. So I think I have a cover on James Stewart's bike.
Nice.
And a 252 stroke Yamaha.
So you got to ride some pretty cool bikes.
Yeah, and even the bikes that weren't like quote unquote cool. Yeah. Like at the time, it was still cool to like get really different shots on those things.
Yeah.
I think I have a photo somewhere of me like throwing a 505 KTM like completely sideways,
crazy,
scrubbing it. But
that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Just some good memories way back in the day, because Motocross Action was really my only outlet to like try out factory bikes at the time.
Yeah.
And I had no other opportunities to ride them, so it was I don't know. It was just a cool opportunity from back in the day.
Did that help at all your contact with Troy Lee or no? Did you already know Troy from before?
I had known Troy from. I worked with Jeff Ward. He was starting an agency back in the day when I was like 13 years old.
Okay.
And it never really turned into anything, but my contact with Jeff Ward stayed tight, and I would go train with him and stay with him because he was closer to the tracks. At the time, I was living so far away, and I obviously didn't have my driver's license, so he would take me to the races and take me to the tracks a lot to practice. So him and Troy Lee having a really good relationship, that's kind of how that whole thing got established. But
cool.
But yeah, I'm sure Motocross Action didn't hurt that relationship at all.
That's cool. Yeah, Troy's been a big Motocross Action guy as well.
Yeah,
so
for
good
sure.
stuff. All right, well, happy to see Cole Seeley back at the races, and looking forward to tomorrow night.